Welcome to another adventure on Underworld Gaming. I'm Spidey, and today we're about to dive deep into a brand new Minecraft journey. Get ready because we're about to explore the unknown. But before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to support me as I embark on these epic quests. All right, let's get started.
It was a bright and sunny day when I, Spidey, found myself drifting on the vast, endless ocean. The waves gently rocked my boat as I sat there, humming a tune with nothing but the horizon ahead of me. The salty sea breeze ruffled my hair, and the sun, high above, kept me warm as I thought about all the possibilities this adventure could bring. A new life, a new beginning. Out here on the open sea, anything could happen. I had been sailing for days, following the map I had found, and today seemed like the perfect day for a new discovery. Well, let's see what the world has to offer today, I said, staring out at the endless water. My mind wandered to all the things I had already encountered. I had lived through many small adventures on my own, collecting resources, building shelters, fighting off mobs, and, of course, surviving the harsh elements. A few huts peeking out from the trees. A village? I murmured, my curiosity piqued. Could it be? I couldn't believe my eyes. It had been so long since I had seen anything like it. I docked my boat and stepped onto the sandy beach. Hello? Anyone home? I called out, my voice echoing across the empty shore. The village was eerily silent, but everything seemed in place. The huts were made of wood, with small windows and thatched roofs. There was even a small well in the center, surrounded by flowers. Yet there was no one in sight. Where is everybody, I wondered, scratching my head. The village felt abandoned, but not in a bad way, just quiet. Very quiet. I wandered through the village, exploring each hut. Inside, there were supplies, tools, food, and even beds. This is a nice place. I could totally live here, I muttered to myself. But as I moved further along, something caught my eye. Behind one of the huts, hidden under a pile of leaves, was a trap door leading down to what appeared to be a small underground room. My heart raced. What could this be? A hidden treasure? A secret hideout? I knelt down, brushing away the leaves, and lifted the trap door. A set of wooden stairs led downward. This just keeps getting better, I said with a grin, stepping cautiously into the unknown. The underground room was dimly lit with a strange, almost magical glow coming from the walls. It was filled with ancient relics, strange glowing stones, old weapons, and an assortment of mysterious artifacts. At the far end of the room was a large chest. "Well, it's about time I find some treasure," I exclaimed. I approached the chest, carefully lifting the lid. Inside, I found a map, an old, weathered map that seemed to lead to another island. There was an X marked on it. "This is it! The adventure continues!" I cheered, feeling a surge of excitement rush through me. But before I could even begin to think about what to do next, I heard something. A faint rumbling noise came from the ceiling, followed by a loud crack. "Uh-oh," I muttered, taking a step back. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath my feet. The cave was collapsing. I didn't waste any time. With the map clutched tightly in my hand, I dashed back up the stairs, heart pounding. I barely managed to escape the crumbling cave just as it caved in behind me. "That was too close," I gasped, wiping sweat from my forehead. I stumbled out of the hidden room and back into the village, still shaking from the adrenaline. My boat was still waiting for me by the shore. Well, that was one way to start the day, I laughed to myself. But the excitement wasn't over yet. I had a new map, a new island to find, and who knows what kind of treasure awaited me. I set sail once again, the mysterious map in hand. The ocean stretched out before me, calm and inviting. The island on the map seemed close. With each stroke of the oar, my anticipation grew. Who knows what awaits on this new island? I muttered with a grin spreading across my face. Adventure, here I come!
I couldn't help but feel a rush of excitement as I sailed towards the island marked on the new map. With the mysterious chest and its strange treasures behind me, I was now on the hunt for something even bigger, something that could make this adventure worth more than I could imagine. The map promised new possibilities, towering trees that seemed to touch the sky. A dense jungle covered the landscape, with winding rivers cutting through it like veins of life. The map showed an X near the center of the island. There was no sign of a village, no sign of any civilization, just the wild, untamed beauty of nature. This looks like it's going to be a big one, I said aloud, my voice almost drowned by the sound of the waves splashing against the boat. I pulled up onto the shore, the sand soft beneath my feet, and took a deep breath. The air was thick with the scent of the forest, and a strange chill ran down my spine. It was as if the island itself was waiting for me. My heart raced as I stepped onto the land, eager to uncover the secrets it held. The first thing I noticed was the silence. There were no birds chirping, no animals scurrying about. The jungle seemed eerily still, almost as though it was holding its breath. Maybe it's just me being paranoid, I chuckled, brushing the thought aside. But something didn't feel quite right. I took a few steps forward, exploring the area. The trees were so tall that they blocked out most of the sunlight, creating an almost magical atmosphere, with dappled light dancing on the ground. The jungle was thick, the underbrush dense and tangled, but I pressed on. The X on the map was just up ahead, and I was determined to find whatever it was that awaited me. As I ventured deeper into the jungle, I spotted something in the distance. It was a structure, a large stone building that looked ancient. It had crumbled walls, overgrown with moss and vines. This is what I'm talking about, I muttered to myself, excited to discover what this long-forgotten place held. I approached carefully, taking note of every detail. The building was unlike anything I had ever seen. The architecture was strange, with no clear patterns or design. The stones looked weathered, as though they had been here for centuries, yet they held a sense of mystery that made my heart race. Just as I stepped closer, I noticed something strange in the corner of the structure. An opening, a crack in the stone. It was wide enough to fit through. My curiosity got the better of me, and I cautiously slipped through the opening, stepping into the dark, cool interior. The air inside smelled damp, and the floor was covered in layers of dirt and fallen debris. As I moved deeper into the building, my eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness. I felt a sense of awe and wonder, as if I were uncovering a piece of forgotten history. This is it, I whispered to myself. This is what I came for. At the far end of the room, I saw a stone pedestal with a strange object resting on it. It looked like a glowing crystal, casting an eerie blue light. The closer I got, the more the crystal seemed to pulse, almost as if it had a life of its own. I reached out slowly, my hand trembling with anticipation. As my fingers brushed against the surface of the crystal, a sudden jolt of energy shot through my arm. I pulled my hand back instinctively, but the crystal continued to glow, brighter and brighter. The ground beneath me began to rumble, and the building shook. "What is going on?" I gasped, my mind racing as I stumbled backward. The crystal's glow intensified, casting strange shadows on the walls. Before I could even react, a voice echoed through the chamber, low and gravelly. "You have found it, the heart of the island. But beware, for those who seek its power are often lost to it. My heart skipped a beat. The voice seemed to come from nowhere, and yet it filled the entire room. Who are you? I asked, my voice trembling slightly. The guardian of the island, the voice replied cryptically. I protect the heart. Those who are worthy may wield its power, but you must prove yourself. I stood there, frozen in place, unsure of what to do. I had no idea how I was supposed to prove myself worthy, or what the heart of the island even was. But one thing was clear. I was no longer alone in this strange, mystical place. Suddenly, the crystal's light began to pulse faster, and the rumbling grew louder. The walls of the chamber started to crack, and the floor beneath me gave way. With a terrifying screech,
As I tumbled through the darkness, I had no idea how long I fell. My heart pounded in my chest, and I could feel the wind rushing past me as the world seemed to spin. Everything had happened so fast, from discovering the mysterious crystal to the sudden earthquake-like tremors. I wasn't even sure if I was still on the island anymore, or if I was falling into some sort of ancient underground labyrinth. Then, just as quickly as it had started, the fall stopped. I landed with a soft thud on the ground, rolling to a stop. I took a deep breath, my mind racing as I struggled to gather my bearings. Slowly, I pushed myself up from the ground, brushing off the dust from my clothes. Okay, Spidey, stay calm, I muttered under my breath, trying to steady my nerves. This is not the first time you've fallen into a hole, right? I looked around, and what I saw made my breath catch in my throat. The area I had landed in was nothing like what I had expected. Instead of being in some collapsed structure, I found myself in a massive cavern. The walls stretched high above me, disappearing into darkness, and the ground beneath me was uneven and covered with strange glowing plants. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and something sweet, like ripe fruit. I glanced up, expecting to see some sort of opening above me, but all I saw was a thick, swirling mist that made it impossible to see where I had come from. Great, now I'm stuck, I thought, feeling a bit of panic creeping in. But I wasn't one to give up easily, especially not after finding this much mystery. I stood up and took a few cautious steps forward. The ground was rocky, and the light from the strange plants illuminated my path just enough to see where I was going. The air was eerily still, and the only sound I could hear was the faint echo of my footsteps. What is this place? I asked out loud, my voice barely above a whisper. The cavern seemed to stretch on forever, its vastness overwhelming. It felt ancient, as if I had stumbled into something forgotten by time. Then, suddenly, I heard a faint noise, a soft, rhythmic thudding. I froze, my heart skipping a beat. My mind raced. Was it another earthquake, or something else entirely? I crouched down low, careful not to make any noise, and creeped toward the sound. As I rounded a corner in the cavern, I gasped in shock. There, in the middle of the cavern, was a massive stone structure, an ancient door, half buried in vines and roots. The door was carved with intricate symbols, glowing faintly in the dim light of the cavern. The rhythmic thudding was coming from inside. Whatever was on the other side, it was alive. I hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do, but my curiosity got the better of me, and before I knew it, I was reaching for the door, pushing aside the vines to get a better look. The moment my hand touched the stone, the thudding stopped, and there was an eerie silence. The door creaked, slowly starting to open on its own, as if it had been waiting for me. Okay? This is fine, I said, trying to reassure myself as the door slowly revealed a dark chamber inside. My heartbeat quickened as I peered into the shadows, unable to see what awaited me. Taking a deep breath, I stepped inside. The air in the chamber was cooler than outside, and it smelled damp and musty. The stone walls were covered with moss and glowing fungi, casting an ethereal light. The room itself was large, with columns stretching up to a high, vaulted ceiling. And at the far end of the room, there was something I didn't expect. A massive stone statue of a figure cloaked in a flowing robe stood frozen in place. Its face was serene, almost peaceful, but its eyes seemed to follow me as I moved through the room. I shivered. Okay, this is starting to get creepy, I muttered to myself. The stone figure was holding something in its outstretched hands, an orb glowing with an eerie light. It was the same glow that had cautiously, my hand reaching out to touch the orb. The moment my fingers made contact, a surge of energy coursed through my body, and the ground beneath me began to tremble. The statue's eyes seemed to flash, and I felt a strange weight lifting from my chest. Before I could react, the room began to shake violently. I stumbled back, my heart pounding in my chest. The stone walls cracked and the floor buckled beneath me. I grabbed onto one of the columns to steady myself, but it was no use. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the chamber, low and resonant, filling every corner of the room. You have awakened the Guardian. Now you must face the trials. Wait, trials? I stammered, looking around in confusion. What trials? I didn't sign up for this. The voice ignored my protests. The art of the island is not easily claimed. Only those worthy can wield its power. I took a step back, my mind racing. The art of the island? Was that what the crystal was? What had I just unleashed? The ground shook again, and from the shadows, figures began to emerge. Creatures made of stone, their eyes glowing with the same light as the orb. They moved toward me with deliberate slowness, and I knew immediately that they were not friendly. Okay, I'm definitely not ready for this, I muttered, taking a step back. I reached for my sword, but realized I had left it on the boat. Well, this is going to be fun, I said sarcastically, mentally preparing myself for whatever was about to happen next.
If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to support my channel. Goodbye, and see you in next video.